So we finally catch up with Sarah, who runs over and babbles a few things when she sees Ian, and then stops to go and look at a baby stego up close. It's a myth that a mother will abandon a baby if you touch it. But does that make this any less of a bad idea? Yeah, just put your hand all over the face. Apparently Hammond sent Joe Biden to this island. Well, as part of our manufactured tension that I mentioned, the oh-so-incredibly experienced with documenting predators in the wild Sarah Harding has brought along a camera that, when it reaches the end of the roll of film, automatically and loudly rewinds. Little advice. If you insist your expert is such an expert, try not to make them fuck up even half as often as Sarah Harding fucks up. But then again, fucking up is a presumed ability in this film. Nay, on this island, it's a superpower, because the Lost World operates on the principle of anti-Darwinism, that is, survival of the least fittest. If you planned ahead, are cautious, and brought a means to defend yourself if you are attacked, you're dead meat. If, on the other hand, you have nothing but a camera, a smug attitude, and lack the common sense God gave a grasshopper, you will skate through this film fine. The person who is the most reckless, has the least foresight, and never, ever raises even a hand to fight off a dinosaur will barely be permitted to be rained on, never mind be harmed. If you at least know something about dinosaurs, but otherwise prove how thick you are, you'll probably get bruised. If you come to realize quickly that things are dangerous, well, you will be put in extreme peril for that. And if you thought going to an island of killer dinosaurs was a bad idea and you should leave immediately, you're going to suffer an injury. Oh, any further up the chain, that places you in mortal peril. How a film series can talk so much about evolution while failing so badly at showing natural selection is beyond me. All I know is they have a new slogan. It's not life finds a way, it's stupidity finds a way.
I just wanted to make dinner. Want it ready when you guys got back.
And I can't even count what she's doing among it. This is like when Billboard releases a top 100 songs of all time list, and you're reading the ones starting with number 100. These are one of those early ones that you're like, I'm not even sure this should even qualify. So Ian is busy trying to get his daughter off this island, and while he's doing that, let's move on to the next It's in the Script part. In the novel, one of the three characters that Sarah is based upon is on Isla Sorna all alone ahead of the arrival of all of this fancy gear of his that he's having made. If you're curious, the kids wound up sneaking up on board because they were that character's students and originally were going to be allowed to field test this equipment in the woods nearby, not come out onto Dinosaur Island with it. So anyway, their teacher calls up from the island with a satellite phone, begging for help. So the two engineers and Ian grab the equipment, and unwittingly the kids who snuck on board because they resented not being able to do the field testing, and comes here. That's why Ian comes in the novel, to rescue. Likewise, he comes in the film to rescue. However, why was Ian even being considered for the expedition in the film? Remember, he only found out because Hammond invited him up there to ask him to join this expedition to shoot a nature documentary. He asked a mathematician specializing in chaos theory. That is only slightly more relevant than being an accountant. And it's not as if Ian's history with these animals was going to be of any particular help. His main experience was twice staring down the gullet of a T-Rex and looking at an enormous pile of shit. I don't think he has very many insightful opinions, especially when you consider his viewpoint was these animals should not have been made in the first place, and I doubt any of his experiences changed his mind. But that, again, is the secondary theme of The Lost World. The first theme is idiocy. The second theme is contrivance. Ridiculous, massive, unbelievable contrivance. Now, I was planning to jump back into the plot after that, but I got set off again. I'd apologize, but if this film won't apologize to me, then fuck it. Shit rolls downhill. Sarah backs up Kelly when Ian reads her the riot act for sneaking along onto this deadly island. This is because Sarah Harding is as thick as a plank. Actually, it's because Sarah Harding is part of the Hollywood naturalism that we get here. Now, Hollywood naturalism is a very special kind in that it doesn't understand what respect nature means. It assumes that respect nature means that it's like the prime directive, you know. You don't exploit and you don't interfere, and it's basically no threat to you. Actual people who have experience with nature, though, will tell you, you should respect that it's powerful, dangerous, and will err on the side of killing you. I looked around to try to find anybody who might have some defense of the film. After all, if you think something is crap, it's easy to overlook a redeeming quality to it. Not a whole lot of new stuff. It's exciting. In parts. So yeah. However, one person tried to advance it as a great film. Emphasis on tried. Most of their points really didn't mean anything, like Steven Spielberg made it, which he also made a lot of really not so great movies, so there's that. But let's talk specifically about the one point where I say you cannot argue, and that is this film is progressive, because as she notes, Ian was in an interracial relationship. Well, again, can't argue with that. She's standing right there. It's not as if Ian grew her in a lab or something. But then the other half of that point is that, oh yeah, and Sarah Harding, that strong feminist presence, such a great STEM role model. To which I say, did you see the same movie I did? Because, no, not at all. Jesus. You want a good female STEM role model from this franchise? Go back to the first film. Ellie, oh yeah, she didn't know chaos theory. It doesn't matter. Nobody but Ian knew anything about chaos theory anyway. But she did know a hell of a lot, not only about her discipline, but on also how it would affect living things. She's the one piecing together what happened to the sick Triceratops. And she wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty, was she? In its mouth, in its poop. Literally elbows deep in trying to sort this thing out and not the least bit squeamish about it. Oh yeah, she's also the only scientist smart enough to come to the tropical island and wear shorts. Now, contrast that with Sarah Harding. She is a clueless tourist. Does that sound unfair? Well, you tell me. All she does is take pictures, touches everything, and thinks that she's got the run of the place. The idea that she is an expert on studying predators is a joke. Anybody with her level of expertise would have been eaten by lions years ago. I know. It's just nothing pushes my buttons like a work telling me that a douchebag is the hero or that a dipshit is a genius. And in this film, we get both. The lack of respect for the audience insults me personally.
Bag. Our presence needs to be 100% antiseptic. If we so much as bend a blade of grass.
Did you really just say that after what you... Gee. Is this movie over yet? 3114? Son of a bitch! She and Ian bicker about their relationship. I ain't even going down that rabbit hole.
Okay. I know what I'm doing.
I absolutely believe you. Really.
I'll be back in 5 or 6 days.
No, you'll be back in 5 or 6 pieces.
What bothers you is that I'm not afraid of this place and you are.
You are absolutely right. I'm sure. This is interrupted by the arrival of the bad guys. You can tell they're the bad guys by having 3 distinct characteristics. 1, they get the cool toys. 2, they're doing something that's actually exciting. And 3, they are not lecturing about not bending a blade of grass after personally causing a stampede. Peter himself has come along to be on hand for this expedition, but Roland clearly establishes that he is the one who's in charge because he knows what he's doing. That's a novelty. An expert who's not screwing up everything he touches. Let's cherish that. We found the real endangered species here, an expert who's competent. And with that, we begin the dinosaur capture sequence. Not from the novel, completely invented for the film. And it's a chance to show us all why poaching is bad by demonstrating how exciting and awesome it is. So, mission accomplished. Alas, all good things must come to an end, though, and so after a successful enterprise, Roland and his assistants start tracking a T-Rex. His price for coming on this expedition is to hunt the most dangerous animal alive, if you exclude my wife when she hasn't been able to find her cigarettes. Back to him in a moment, though. First, we meet his second-in-command, Dieter. To remind us once again that the secondary theme is contrivance. Why he's the second-in-command, I have no idea. Roland and his friend find the T-Rex nest, complete with a baby Rex, and Roland quickly concludes the best way to lure the Rex in without giving themselves away is to stake it out in a spot of their choosing. Saw that in a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, I think. It's at this point that the film does a massive disservice to both Roland and the animals themselves, believe it or not. You see, in the end, you know what? I don't really care whether or not I give away the ending now. So, let's give away the ending. The end of the film shows the baby Rex being allowed to make its first kill by feasting on the still-living Peter with Papa T-Rex watching. And the whole scene is shot as if it were somehow cute that a person was being ripped apart alive. Well, that scene makes a lot more sense if you know about the deleted scene that was supposed to come in here. See, Peter comes along while Roland is doing his thing. Peter has been drinking, though. You might notice during his presentation to the board, he sounds a little bit drunk. Well, Peter yammers something about wanting the baby Rex, too, and in his drunken stumblings, he falls down and he breaks the baby's leg. This gives context, then, to the end scene now. It completely changes, because the T-Rex breaks Peter's leg as an echo of what he has done to the baby Rex, and then the baby gets revenge. One could certainly argue that that's poetic justice. But more importantly for the immediacy, the scene establishes that it was Peter that broke the leg. Without that scene, it's basically assumed that Roland is the one who's responsible, that he deliberately staked this animal out and broke its leg in order to make sure that it would call for the Papa T-Rex to come just so he could shoot it. Roland is a sport hunter, and the reason it's sport hunting is because, like a sport, it has rules to it. Busting a leg to draw in the prey would be as anathema to him as it would be to put a bullet through the Mona Lisa. During this, Team Dipshits is spying on the other team, and that's when Nick reveals that he's not just a photographer and a douchebag, but he's also an eco-terrorist, so he's heading down there to break the animals out of their cages. Fine. I honestly have no opinion on this one way or another. You can debate whether or not Nick or the InGen team are in the right here. I think both sides do have a fair argument to present there, enough that I don't feel the need to really hash it out here, especially because I know I'm talking about this film long enough already. Though I do admit, of course, that it's very hard not to side against Nick here just because the film is so pushing his side, I want to resist out of sheer bloody-mindedness. All the free dinos naturally charge, and they are not too careful in their exit, trashing the entire camp in the process. Well, having completely fucked up that camp, it's time to fuck up his own camp. Nick runs over to where the baby Rex is, sees that it's injured, and then brings it back home. This film apparently believes a man can prove to be so too stupid to live, he can cross the threshold into too stupid to die. Nick is what you get if Captain Planet had a sneezing fit during his lobotomy.
He's got a broken leg. Let's get in the car before they hear us.
Are you out of your mind? Do you have any idea what that is?
Come on, open the door. Come on.
You're nuts.
Why are you helping him, you goddamn fool? You know the punchline to this, don't you? From don't bend a blade of grass to carry a wounded baby animal into our camp. You make Donald Gennaro look like Jane Goodall. Ian takes this in stride, considering one of these things nearly ate him twice.
Other animals are gonna hear this.
Yeah, that's right. Even the kid knows more than these two supposed experienced nature experts. Thank you, Kelly. Much like how in the Marvel Universe a character will gain the power of Captain Universe, you have gained the power of Captain Obvious, and with it, perhaps might save the day. Well, it doesn't take long to realize that in a rational universe, these two would not be long for this world, so she asks Ian to get her the hell out of here. And that just leaves the High Hide with Eddie, and there's a place to go. Except the T-Rex is coming, so Ian tries calling up the trailer.
With too much, we'll put him into respiratory arrest. Nick, I need your hand here. Right here, put some...
Oh yeah, no chance that could be urgent. You get tons of robocalls when you're stranded on an island in the middle of nowhere. Jesus, this is not open heart surgery. You're fixing a cracked bone. You can take 10 seconds to find out whether or not that phone call is something important, because generally the emergency phone is for emergencies. Manufactured tension because the characters are morons. Welcome to the Lost World. So, because of this, Ian has no choice but to head down there personally to tell them that there's a dangerous predator on the way. As for the cast, they're not going to be able to remove it at a future date, so they need something where the groaning animal will be able to just kind of break it off in time.
Spit. Your gum.
I'm torn, because on the one hand, she really should have been more specific. But on the other, it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway, because as established, Nick is the biggest dumbass in this entire franchise. If you ask, Nick would probably say the Apollo moon landing was fake, because the moon isn't real, it's just an optical illusion caused by the tides. Ian arrives to say that they have to get this critter out right away, but they both refuse, on the grounds that that makes fucking sense. And that's when... Now the moment has arrived to really ask yourself, where could I possibly have gone wrong? After they roar outside the trailer for a while...
They're searching. They came for their infants.
My God, I'll bet you're right! What a bunch of jag-offs. You are challenging my ability to come up with metaphors for how dense you are. I'm trying not to be repetitive here, but I've never had my entire list of words that are synonyms for idiot become utterly exhausted so quickly before. At least the movie The Stupids was honest. It didn't suggest that they weren't stupid. No, they put it right out in front so you knew what you're getting. But The Lost World suggests that we're going to get experts in their field, not lifelong members of the Paint Chip Supper Club.
You know, I beg people to listen to me. I use plain, simple English. I don't have any accent that I'm wearing.
Oh, shut up.
Never has someone had less reason to say that than this dimwit. Especially because... You're not done paying for your bad choices yet.